the last and final game of the opening weekend. It is Portland Thorns versus Chicago Red Stars at Providence Park. This home turf, it has ended 5-0 for Portland Thorns. I will quickly start us off with this, and I think I saw quite a few parallels to the UEFA Women's Champions League final, which was a painful game to watch, but we saw an own goal within the first 5 minutes. Then we saw a penalty within the first 15 minutes. And then we really saw that sort of, one team spiral out of control because of that opening 2 goals, and the other team really dominating. Similar case in Portland's game right here. We have Sophia Smith, who put up a really powerful shot from quite a distance. It, of course, hit Tiana Davidson and went in, counting as an own goal. And then Christine Sinclair steps up for the penalty. I think Portland Thorns celebrated, but they knew when to stop and when to recover and when to come back just 7 days later. And, they seem to be just increasing the gap when it comes to the top one or top two teams and then the rest of the pack. So we need the rest of the pack to start chasing and catching up. But it was a pretty clinical performance from Portland Thorns here. Again, we've mentioned Sophia Smith at the beginning of this episode, who did miss a few chances. She's still very young, but to really, have that. Firstly, the manager had confidence to put her back, and she had to kind of prove that she deserves a playing spot and a starting 11 spot rather. So very good to see Sophia Smith get up there. Portland had 22 shots and Chicago had 4. So I think that really sort of sums up what this game was like. And it's just the first week. Chicago need to bounce back. We'll see how they work and how that team really recovers. We've seen them be a little shaky in the Challenge Cup, and we've been asking them to sort of recover from there. They haven't yet. We'll see that happen hopefully. But player of the match for me, Sophia Smith, just because of the confidence put in her and then the confidence returned by her as well. And to get a couple of goals, maybe even a third one if you don't count it as an own goal. And really proving that she's very young, but she still deserves to be at this stage is very good to see. So Sophia Smith, my player of the match from this 5-0 victory. Romal, your thoughts?
Right. I think, like you said, I think this was very sort of, it sort of made me wonder whether I was actually seeing the UEFA Champions League match back again, but, just different colors.
Yeah.
But I think what I remember talking about even with the Challenge Cup is I think like this jersey of mine that I'm wearing. I think Rory Dames is a few seasons off in terms of where the Red Stars need to be. I think he's a bit outdated. And I think that's something that management definitely needs to look at because um, again, like I keep saying, this is a core team, core bunch of players that are not really bad. We've got some great names, some great experience on the pitch, and yet, there's this team came out completely unprepared for what has happened. Okay, there was, and like you said, if you say that this is a Portland team that is sort of setting the standard, and I think on the flip side, this is not really so much about Portland. This is about a Chicago team that's actually missing the bus.
Yeah.
You know, and you saw it. I think what was really, I think, ugly for me was the fact that after the first few minutes, they really had no plan. You could see, people like Pew, Kejo, even Watt, for example, they couldn't meet each other's eyes. They were there, they were trying, but they weren't playing as a team. And that went all through the team right up till the back four. So it was really a question about what is happening at the top level for this team and what sort of decisions this team needs to sort of make going forward. I'm hoping that with new management, there are these very pertinent questions that are asked, and we see that change where a lot of the Chicago fans, were out there get to actually see a team that's competitive because again, like when I spoke to a few Chicago Red Stars fans, for example, a lot of them just pointed out to the fact that hey, James has been around and he's been great with the draft, and that's probably all that they could bring to discussion. And I think again with that, you see what is happening is that when you look at someone like James, I think he's brilliant with the draft. But the draft has also now evolved to a space where any person that you draft, for example, apart from the top two, every other player in the draft is usually a season or two, ahead of their real showcase season. For example, it takes players about a season or two to get to this level. So I think just sort of depending on the draft is a little again behind standard at the moment, and they really need to make some moves to kind of get this team to be really competitive. Given that, I think frightening match from the Portland Thorns, and the reason it's also even more frightening is that the rain faced them next week. So it's like given what we saw, I am I'm being super critical about the Red Stars this week. I'm sure I'm going to be crying next week. Given how we
Yeah.
so so yeah, I think a great match again from the top right up to France in terms of just how she played, the way she sort of got the ball out, actually led to two goals. So brilliant overall team performance, and everyone sort of wanted to be there. Like you pointed out again, Sophia Smith. I mean, we spoke about her being disappointed with the Challenge Cup. To come out here, first game of the season, and sort of really take this game and showcase what she can do on the ball. And I think that was phenomenal. Now, with the Thorns, with Mark Parsons actually having all of these players in form, like who do you play? There's Simone Charlie, there's Lucy, there's Sophia Smith, there's Beaver, and every one of these players is scoring goals. So I'm really interested to see how the season proceeds with this team, but they're really fun to watch. um, Again, I think given the news that we've got with Mark Parsons moving out at the end of the season,
Yeah.
if this is the way that they played this season, I think he could be going out on a real high. Player of the match for me has to be again Sophia Smith. Just the ability to come back and off a disappointing campaign and just do what she did in this match. I think she shows a lot of character, and yeah, hats off to her.